The Kindest Channel reconvenes, and Family Court is now in session. Today we are not ranking fangs, we are terminating parental rights. On the docket, the Animal Kingdom's worst parents, every single one of them hiding behind adorable press. The rule of this court is simple. Cute is not a defense, and the scariest creature in the room might just walk out with Parent of the Year. No closing lecture either. First to the stand, a beloved national treasure who calmly gives birth to twins and then raises exactly half of them. Panda, opening the file, the most beloved face in all of conservation, and a working single mother of, well, one. She routinely delivers twins, picks a favorite on the spot, and writes the other one off. Natural triage, the biologists call it, and she performs it flawlessly, every time. A newborn weighs roughly a 900 of her, so this was never about the heavy lifting. Meanwhile, she runs a zoo about $1 million a year, mostly in public relations and bamboo she barely bothers to digest. The best funded deadbeat in nature, and the only one with a gift shop. Exhibit A. The Spare Cup. For the record, I promised the court no experiments on the intern today. Honest. We placed a standing second cup right beside her, plus my favorite mug for gravitas. She considered the cup. She considered the mug. Then she swatted the mug clean off the podium, where it cracks in a way that mug truly did not deserve. Minus a point. And yes, that mug was mine. The cup she left exactly where it lay. She has room in her life for precisely one dependent, and today it was neither the cup nor my cup. The verdict of the Kindest Channel. Deadbeat parenting. 2 out of 10. Custody revoked. Both points are for the face, because the actual parenting scored a clean 0. Next. A con artist who has never filed a single day of childcare, and somehow still keeps a spotless record. Cuckoo. The dossier. Adoption fraud, straight out of the textbook. She never builds a nest, never warms an egg, never raises a thing. She simply waits for a smaller bird to step out for lunch, drops one egg into the stranger's nest, and flaps off to her own hobbies. Her planted chick hatches early, then heaves the real eggs over the rim one by one, so the frantic foster parents wear themselves down, feeding a baby 3 times their own size. 0 days of childcare and a flawless record. The same flawless record you keep by never once volunteering for anything. Exhibit B. The handoff. We handed her a single egg and a beautiful nest of her very own, built overnight by the crew. She held the egg for maybe 4 seconds, glanced at our lovely new nest, and instead dropped it straight into the intern's lunch basket, then bolted offset before the door even swung shut. The intern is now, legally and emotionally, a foster parent, and my crew spent a whole night building a nest for absolutely no one. She does not co-parent. She subcontracts, and she does not leave a forwarding address. The verdict. Fraud in the first degree, 1 out of 10, and that single point is strictly for nerve. Parental rights? She never even applied. Next. The coldest checkout in the whole kingdom. 12 days of motherhood, then she slips into the sea and does not look back. Seal, opening the case. The Harp Seal holds the record for the shortest maternity leave in the animal kingdom. She nurses her pup out on the open pack ice for about 12 days, on milk that is nearly half pure fat, so the little one swells into a fluffy white beach ball almost overnight. Then, one ordinary morning, she pours herself into the water and never returns. The pup stays put on the ice for weeks, living off stored fat, teaching itself to swim, hunt and survive, with no notes from anyone. 12 days, then a clean exit. She invented the drive-through childhood. Exhibit C. The long goodbye. We asked the Harp Seal, on the record, to walk us through a normal morning drop-off. She lay down on the ice. She stared directly into the camera. She blinks, slowly, the way a screen buffers on bad Wi-Fi. Then she turned those enormous, innocent eyes toward the exit and simply held them there. That is the whole curriculum. Lie down, look devastating, count to 12 days, leave. It is precisely the face you make when the group chat starts organizing a reunion you have already decided not to attend.
The verdict. Clacked out. 4 out of 10. Cold, certainly. But the pup does waddle off alive, so the court grants a mercy it fully expects to regret. Before the next file opens, the gallery would very much like a word with me. Segment The Voicemail. A message reached the studio from a viewer named Pam, 1 minute 12 seconds, recorded live from her laundry room. You people are cruel. My hamster is a wonderful mother, so gentle, so patient with her babies. In the background, you can clearly hear the hamster doing something to that cage I am not going to narrate on a family channel. I played it twice, to be fair to Pam. Pam, with total respect, a rattled hamster mom will stuff her own newborns into her cheeks to relocate them, which looks every bit as alarming as it sounds and is somehow the wholesome version. The parents you trust on site are simply the ones with better lighting. Keep the messages coming. I file everyone. Court is back in session. Shark. Opening the file and clear the front row. The sand tiger shark starts her family with a dozen or more embryos, then lets them settle things privately before birth. The biggest one on each side quietly eats its own siblings in the womb, so exactly 2 pups are ever delivered, each already a meter long and thoroughly experienced. It is the only nursery in nature with 1 survivor and a strict occupancy limit of 1. She never raises them, and she doesn't have to. By the time they arrive, they have already won their first custody battle the hard way. Ruthless, efficient, fully staffed by natural selection. Exhibit D. The tank. We rolled a proper tank into the courtroom, and I reminded everyone, no experiments on the intern. The intern, naturally, leaned in with a red laser pointer to test her focus. She tracked the dot exactly once, lunged, and put a wall of water clean over the front 3 rows. Everyone got a splash. The intern got a lesson. I got a soaked docket. Minus a point, and that docket was the only dry thing I owned. She came into the world ready for a fight nobody offered, which, frankly, is more preparation than the intern brought today. The verdict. Sibling war, 3 out of 10. No parenting to speak of, but she does hand over a finished product, so we round up, out of pure respect. Next. A defendant the prosecution finally likes, accused of neglect and about to walk right out of here. Rabbit. Opening the case. And I will be honest, I walked in expecting an easy conviction. The doe visits her buried nest of kids about once a day, for roughly 2 minutes, then hops off and ignores them entirely. On paper it reads exactly like every deadbeat we have paraded through here tonight. Except she is doing it on purpose. A rabbit's own scent is what leads foxes and hawks to the nest, so the less time she spends there, the less she draws a predator to her children. 2 minutes a day is not neglect. It is a mother deliberately looking absent to keep the kids alive. Turns out, barely around can be the whole strategy. Exhibit E. The 2-minute drill. We built a raised nest up on the stand and timed her with the good stopwatch. She hopped up, fed the kids, groomed them, checked the perimeter, and hopped back down. The clock read 109 seconds. Efficient. Complete. Nobody left cold. For the first time all night, a defendant finished the entire job faster than the intern makes a single cup of coffee, and did not knock one thing of mine onto the floor. Genuine respect. Some parents are not absent. They are simply done before you notice they had started. The verdict. Acquitted, 8 out of 10, and a rare apology from this court. She looked like a deadbeat and turned out to be a tactician. The only guilty party here is you, for judging a mother by her screen time. And now, the reason we call this whole session. The defense would like to present 2 fathers. Seahorse. The dossier, defense witness, and please stay with me. In this particular family, the father gets pregnant. The mother deposits up to 1,000 eggs into a pouch on his belly, and then she leaves, which, at least, is very much on brand for tonight. He carries them, feeds them, regulates their water, and after about 3 weeks he goes into labor and pumps out a cloud of fully formed babies. No mama or father on earth has done a fraction of this, and he manages it without once mentioning how tired he is. The scariest thing in nature is not a shark, it is a dad who actually shows up.
Exhibit F. The delivery room.
We wheeled the Seahorse in mid-pregnancy, and purely for science, I asked him to describe the discomfort. He said nothing. He stared straight down the lens, one paternal fin resting on his enormous glowing belly, and did not flinch. Not a sigh, not a complaint, not one request for a lighter schedule. The intern applauded, which for once cost us nothing. Here is a father literally carrying 1,000 children and radiating less stress than you do assembling a single flat-pack shelf with clear instructions and all the screws included.
The verdict.
Father of the Year, 10 out of 10, and this medal is real. Pregnant, uncomplaining, undefeated. And finally, the last witness, who does the very same job standing up in a blizzard on his feet with no chair for 2 straight months.
Penguin. Opening the last file.
The Emperor Penguin. Father takes the egg the instant it is laid, balances it on his feet under a warm fold of belly, and then the mother marches off to sea for weeks. So far, standard for tonight. But he stays. For roughly 65 days he stands through the Antarctic winter, -40 degrees, screaming wind, never sitting, never eating, shuffling in slow circles with the other fathers so nobody on the outside freezes. He burns nearly half his own body weight keeping that egg warm, and by the time she returns, he has starved for months, so a chick he has not even met can hatch.
Exhibit G. The long stand.
We stood the Emperor father on set at the bracing studio temperature and asked, very gently, whether he might like a short break. He looked at us. He looked at the egg on his feet. He stared back into the camera and did not so much as shiver. He simply kept standing because the job, in its entirety, is standing. 2 months, no food, no seat, no notes-up reminder to be more present. Just a father who decided the egg comes first and never once revisited the decision. The intern asked for his autograph. I allowed it.
The verdict. Father of the Year, 10 out of 10, shared with the Seahorse, because greatness this stubborn does not fit on one medal. The files are closed. The court has one last thing to say, and it will only say it once.
Court adjourned. 7 parents on the docket, 2 medals, 1 acquittal, and a floor that will need mopping. Look at the scoreboard. The Panda, the softest face in the building, lost custody. The Cuckoo ran the perfect scam and never spent 1 day at home. And the 2 winners, parent of the year, both of them, are a fish who gets pregnant and a bird who starves standing up in a blizzard. Neither one is cuddly. That is the entire verdict. Cute is a costume. Competence is what you do at 3 in the morning when nobody is filming and no medal is coming. So next time you meet a parent who looks a little odd, a little scary, a little too calm about carrying 1,000 kids, check the record before you check the face. The intern survived, mostly, and we are keeping him. Next session, the sweetest animals in the world, and the paperwork they are quietly hiding. Subscribing will not evict you, will not eat its siblings, and will not leave you alone on the ice. The one relationship on this channel with a spotless custody record. The Kindest Channel rests its case.